Taj Mahal is a burial ground, a memorial. But everybody loves to go to that memorial. Because there is the case of Euro crematorium, it is located in a place where it's filled with Islamic people house all around. And after inaugurating, you won't believe, Indian architecture scene, there are only two great people that always come to my mind and who have been guiding me particularly. One is feel always proud of our heritage, our Tamil heritage or our Indian heritage, and then instead of taking the world models and putting it here, we should do our models and take it to the world. There was an MGR memorial in front of it, which was derelict. Which was, Sar died 27-30 years back, and the last 30 years his memorial was like a derelict memorial. There are her achievements in politics. For example, she has given art to Kutti. So we were laughing.
Memorials itself, people think it is something, it's a sad place and people don't want to go.
Every memorial is a failure. So when the leader dies, for the first 5 years or 3 years, the political people, they go. After that, nobody goes.
It is more like how in indoor spaces you have the chance to guide your visitor through your building.
Very true.
And I would like to add to the last statement that you said about how you are able to, create shape and image of the person. So for a question, I would like to ask, what role do you believe memorials play in shaping the image of the person or the incidents relating to them? And how do you portray it to society? Because you have your own perspective, and I believe as a designer also, when you are creating a memorial, even your perspective is shown to the entire world.
So, for example, any person was lived for long and served the society for long and goes away, there may be a lot of minus aspects also about that person, and there may be a lot of plus points also about the persons. But all the minuses done over a period of time, it need not be remembered. Whereas the good things, it is also a place somebody can reinforce their beliefs and take a lot of good information, good vibes from the place and move on. So it's the place where you should kind of tell, okay, if you have these good values, you'll be going to the next step. So as a designer, I always feel, even in the normal life also, every person there is good and bad. And if you are going to look at the bad thing in a very serious manner, and you will never have peace of mind. Somebody, your close friend also, might have uttered some different words about you, or you won't have helped you in certain things. But those small incidents has to be forgotten, and all the good things about the person to be remembered and then cherished. So for me as a designer, I always try to, in any design also, even in school design or anything that I'm doing, I always feel how to enhance the good things. Suppose somebody says the school, when you enter, it has to be very silent. But for me, the silent is fine. But if it's going to cause pain to the child, I don't want to do that. Maybe a small water body or some flower there. It can be very serious entrance, but there has to be some touch of love. So I always combine very soft aspects to the strong features of design also. So in the memorial also, I always feel adding a lot of ingredients so that the user gets all the good positive vibes about the person.
When we talk about crematoriums, now we have had this long conversation about memorials, but when we move to crematoriums, as an architect, how did you address the need for designing a crematorium? Because like I said earlier when we were talking about how people do not want to go to crematoriums or memorials, and they have their own rules that women can't go, kids can't go. But how did you address it? How did you make it all inclusive?
True. To me, every act of architecture, it is not for that particular person. Let's say now if you are designing a house, okay, it's for the 5 people or 4 people or 8 people there. But this is part of an urban setup, part of a street. So in the inside spaces are for them. But the outside spaces, the trees and the plants and the way the building is looking at, is also part of the urban fabric. And it has to contribute to the street. It has to do something to the street user. So anything that you do, it should be multi-use kind of a thing. So when Kalam found out what is the strongest material which to take the rocket, and he also felt the same strongest material if it can be used for handicapped children to make their legs. So every object in the world that we make has to have multiple uses. So same way house has to be like that. So when the case of a crematorium, when we thought we will make a structure, we thought this is going to be there in an urban setting. So inside of the crematorium should be good. But what about the external? There are people living around it. Maybe 1 acre, 2 acre. But there will be people living in that area. Should they have a stigma that they are living in a crematorium zone? Will it hurt? Will it hurt a child, or whether it will threat a child? Children can be afraid of death. So all these things were going on in my mind, and the external of the of the crematorium, what we thought was it should be beautiful. Like example, now Taj Mahal is a burial ground, a memorial. But everybody loves to go to that memorial because there is water there, fountain there, trees are there, beautiful pathways are there, resting pavilions are there. So why not? Why only Shah Jahan should do that? Why not we also do for our own people? And it is almost every family there will be one death or other. So people are going to frequently go. I mean, not every day, but at least once in 10 years or something they are going to go. So when they go, they should have good feel about the person who died, and also should be a place to console others and also to mourn. So when the body is burning in the chambers, they will be waiting for 1 hour. So we thought we will create a meditative chamber. So where beautiful verses or slogas or Gandhi's bhajan or music will go. That 1 hour at least till they get the ashes, they will pray for the departed soul. And somebody will come and hold your hand and console you. Somebody will say, touch your shoulders and say, "No, we are there to take care of you." All that happens in that 1 hour space. So the boy who lost the father, or boy who lost the mother, or the mother who lost the son, or so everybody has to be consoled. We thought that space should be in such a way, it should be neutral and allow people to freely express and all that in a beautiful landscape setting. In the case of Erode Crematorium, it is located in a place where it's filled with Islamic people house all around. And after inaugurating, you won't believe, every evening I will see at least 20 to 30 Islamic ladies with children walking around in the beautiful gardens, sitting there. And now there's no line drawn, no religion or nothing. It's architecture and the place and the landscape, and people are one and the same. So that way,
I think it is how an architect helps in erasing that feeling of taboo regarding such spaces, because people start seeing it more as a place where you can connect and come and sit together than a place where people have been told from childhood, don't go there, it's dark, people will kidnap you, and all those dangerous things.
No, earlier years that was like that. The spaces were in such a way, there was no light, current was not there, it was all always, and it was all not about anything. Death is like a dirt and it may be contagious. So it was pushed away from the village in the river thing, very far away. So that is why, and most of the cremations used to take place only in the evenings.
Okay.
And those days no current thing was there, so they have to walk in the dark with a fire stick. So that's why ladies were not allowed. But now today everything is there. So today all my crematoriums everywhere, I think all the ladies equal like men, they go there, and it's a very, very conducive space for everybody to go at this.
But all of these projects are challenging, and in even the creation of these spaces, there is always a certain challenge that you face. Like earlier you were talking about how women are not allowed, and how you were having difficulties in collecting funds from the clients and people who wanted to do such charity work. what kind of challenges do you think an architect
Yeah.
faces in creating such spaces?
First of all, architects generally what we are taught is in the very Western way. So our books are from Western world, from printed from abroad. So and most of the architecture that we study are about other culture, the foreign cultures. Whereas very little is written about our culture, and we don't have good books on our architecture. The Tamil architecture, there's hardly any book. And we don't have documented evidences of Tamil structures. If you are looking at Tamil temple architecture, not written by Tamilians, maybe the Britisher came and wrote something, and then we still follow that. So we are not fully aware of all the social aspects. If you want to design a memorial or a crematorium, you have to know the culture of that region, and also how people, let us say, now there are so many communities. Now Islamic people, they will have certain way of departing the making the body taken for cremation. Whereas there's not, they are cremating, they are burned, bury. Whereas Christians also burial. Whereas Hindus, we have so many branches. Each person follows certain customs. So if you want to design anything to do with death, we have to understand that religious beliefs associated with that, how each subgroup will respond. And there are events taking place after the 13th day, after 3rd day, after 16th day. So a lot of ceremonies also take place. After when the body is burnt, there are ceremonies they do. And for that, there are certain type of spaces required, and you require water element also. So many things are there. So before any architect starts, you have to understand all these mechanisms fully. Then in the case of death can be viewed as a pure, very remote thing. Okay, somebody's died. So there is a lot of grievance in the mind of the family who, missed that person. Somebody's son died in an accident. The mother is filled with sorrow. The whole family is. So now the architect has to really understand human psychology. So understanding human psychology is a must. And how the aspect, similar thing happened under 200, 300, 500, 700 years also. The same death has occurred. Somebody died. The same mother were grieving. He died in the war. The son died in the war. Same mother filled with sorrow. What did they do? All these 500, 700,000 years. What did they do to remove that so much of pain from her? What are the ways? For example, in Hindu culture, sometime back I lost my sister's husband. The thing I have to do is, as a brother, I have to go remove her Betty. There is one you wear in the leg. And then you also remove the thali. So I'm the person, because I'm the brother, and nobody else is allowed to do that. I have to remove when she is sleeping. At 3 o'clock in the early morning, I have to go from her, I have to remove by force or whatever and take this. And she will cry, she'll be waiting. She knows this guy is going to come and remove this thing. And she will hold me and cry. How can you do this? He's my hope, my husband died. What are you going to do? I said, I will be there. I will be there in the place of our mama, and till death, I will take care of you. That's not. Otherwise, she doesn't have a man in the life. So likewise, our customs have built so many checks and balances so that no individual is left alone. So same way, in cremation also, there are so many procedures are there. If you follow that, I think the grief will be slowly eradicated. So by the time you finish the cremation and you come back home, half the load will be undone, removed from you through a systematic scientific process. So somebody, they will say, whoever wants to keep the last coin, please come and keep the last coin. Put something in the mouth, or vicaricy. So likewise, when you do that, you cry. And there is some other ceremony when there is a thing, you have to keep the oil or something. So for that, all the close relatives. So every time you cry, you are not crying alone, there is mass crying. So you are forced to cry out. So you cannot hold your inner things here. So it does not become like a very tight thing. So there you cry, another place you cry, another place. So series of places you have to cry. and eventually you take out all your grief. So by the time you come back, you're okay. You can handle pressure kind of thing. Otherwise, some people hold it in the heart. It's very painful. So an architect has to know the psychological aspects. And then the religious beliefs. For example, Harichandra, there will be a statue. As soon as you enter, you have to pray to the Harichandra, and there is a person. So many gods are there. You have to. For each of the ritual, there is something behind it. So we cannot be like very scientific and just do only the burner part and the cremation basin part. Not like that. It has so many layers, and the architect has to understand all this layered thinking which goes behind in all these activities.
So it is how you have to add to the multifunctionality of a space.
Yes.
So like you said earlier, there are a lot of people who don't have space in their house, or they're not really included into society when they're mourning the loss of somebody they have loved for so long. And creating spaces where they can spend those last few minutes with their family and everybody around them. I think this is where you would want people to, you are also as an architect, as the designer of that space, able to give your respect to the people, and you want even the visitors to feel respectful about the deceased and their loved ones and everything. When we even talk about crematoriums and memorials, the place itself is lesser visited, and there are not many people who even visit often. Unlike Jayalalitha ma'am's memorial, which has 20,000 people. Other memorials and crematories don't really have a lot of
It's true.
And how do you incorporate the maintenance of such space in a design? Because maintaining a space that is not gone frequently or visited generally tends to become dirty or under-maintained. And you also said how the thorny bushes and everything were there in other memorials. So how do you incorporate design along with the maintenance? So building can become self-sustaining.
I've been designing the public places for very long, right from our Mylapore MRTS railway station, Coimbatore bus stand, and so many of the hospitals. I know when large amount of people come and how the space is abused. I mean, not everybody is going to behave perfectly. So what happens is every wall will be touched by people. People who have some metallic stuff, they like to make scratches. They like to write something, all that. So everywhere, whatever possible. Now if you look at our temples, they are there for thousands of years. But even today, if you go, it looks nice.
The respect they give to God.
Even they can't do much because everything is done with stone. So it's so hard. It can withstand thousands of years of all this punishment by various people. So my feel is every public space should be kind of built for permanency. That is why our Tamil architecture, they kind of have the stone building monuments and brick for the houses. Bricks were not used for temple building. Only stones. Stones were not used for house building. So any monument, it has to be done with the material which is permanent. In fact, they didn't even use steel, which will be corroding. So absolutely all our temples are without steel, which will corrode. So they used copper even for the clips. So it will withstand. So that kind of a teaching, it was done by the earlier people, made me think whatever I do for the public, it should stand for another 100 years. But when we were working on the Jayalalitha thing, we were all very ambitious, creating a lot of more mounds and green belts and everything. And that time, EPSR was the chief minister. He asked me one thing. Only if the watchman doesn't do the job, who will maintain this? Or if there is a change in government and if the next government doesn't want to maintain it, what will happen to your beautiful stuff? So what he told was, do something which doesn't require any maintenance. Or even for the top roof, you have a paint which will last for another 20 years. Paint that. Don't paint the paint which will last only for 3 years. So we can put in a lot of money as an initial investment, but maintenance of maintaining government building is a very difficult task. So don't do anything thing. So don't save money for us, but go for the best. In fact, he was saying Sydney per house and says, அங்க என்ன பண்ணிருக்காங்களோ, can you try and use it here?
Shell structure.
And near to the sea. So ours is also a similar situation. So can you find out from them and use that same technology for our? So like that, I think good leaders, they are also thinking about maintenance. And as an architect, I feel all the inner spaces should be very easy to maintain. And we even have pressure pipes which reaches 60 feet of the dome. So you can, from the floor, you can clean all the dome structures. So for the Jayalalitha Memorial Staff, you can all the walls and all, you can from below, you can put the hose pipe and it will reach 60 feet with like a petrol thing. They are
like
washing. So cleaning the cars. So similar. So every aspect we have to look at it. And we are responsible also.
But not only the memorial, I think all buildings that are constructed for the public have to be self-maintaining. So you also believe that giving a little light touch of stone cladding also keeps the building
always. True.
Prevents it from all the external people. External damages, if I have to be correct. So this was the last question I had. And would you like to say anything in general about design process and anything you'd like to address to the viewers, the children?
In Indian architecture scene, there are only two great people that always, come to my mind and who have been guiding me particularly. One is Charles Correa and the other one is B.V. Doshi. Although both of them, worked abroad, studied abroad, but they maintain the Indian spirit. So I feel that Indian spirit should be the guiding light for all of us. It can be very modern in expression, but the spirit of our built spaces should be Indian. So Doshi always says, when you design, you speak your mother tongue, so you will understand better. So whereas in colleges, everywhere, we are used to English. For example, sit out and then thinai are both are different having meaning. Sit out is different, thinai is different. Okay. Vasal is different, sit out is different. So likewise, if you can express through your mother tongue, that's better. That's what Doshi says. I feel student also, you can use your mother tongue in the creative process so that your pure thought comes onto the board, onto the drawing, and you can capture whatever you want to do. Many of the Japanese architects are doing. So feel always proud of our heritage, our Tamil heritage or our Indian heritage, and then work on your projects, then looking at the Western world. So my feel is we should more and more create our own typologies which are relevant to our land, our culture and our people, and be proud and take it to the world. Instead of taking the world models and putting it here, we should do our models and take it to the world. This is the message I want to tell them.
I completely agree about your ideas on how you are telling that you have to incorporate what you actually speak in as a local, so that you are able to feel that space. Even in earlier interviews I've seen of other architects, they have mentioned that when you go to a site where you are unfamiliar with what the locals speak, and if you have to design something like a very simple design, even a residence, make sure to learn the small keywords that they say to, to make even the client feel included and for them to feel like, okay, I've done the right decision by choosing this architect. So this brings us to the end of the interview. And as we wrap up this insightful conversation with architect Murli, we're reminded of the power of architecture to shape our lives and experiences. We extend our gratitude, sir, for sharing your time, wisdom, and all of your passion with us today. Thank you for joining us in this engaging conversation. And remember, stay curious, stay inspired. Thank you.